Good morning, viewer. Welcome to War for Sector. Here's the breaking news. When a strange white spot appeared in the skies above the Andaman and Nicobar Islands in January 2020, it swiftly became a talking point in the sleepy Indian Ocean archipelago of 430,000 people. Hundreds of members of the public spotted the strange object which looked a little like a full moon and were eager to speculate on what it was, reported local media. But high altitude surveillance balloon did not seem high on many people's guest list. Many suggested it was a weather balloon. Others, including local news outlet the Andaman Sikha, thought that made no sense, ruling out the possibility on the grounds of the object's shape, height, and photographs showing what appeared to be 8 dark panels hanging from it. Some did suggest spying might be involved, but that too seemed a strange explanation. Under the headline, "Unidentified Flying Object from over Port Blair City Triggers Curiosity and Rumor," the Sika post a question in this age of ultra-advanced satellites: who will use a flying object to spy? That question, experts say, has taken on a greater resonance this month after the United States shot down a suspected Chinese surveillance balloon that spent days over American territory, including apparently lingering over nuclear missiles silos in Montana. US intelligence officials say the balloon, which China insists was a civilian weather research vessel, was part of an extensive Chinese surveillance program run from the Iceland province of Hainan that has flown balloons over at least 5 continents in recent years. Other governments have also raised concerns soon after the balloons were spotted over the US. Taiwan's foreign ministry said the incident should not be tolerated by the civilized international community, adding it was experienced Chinese balloons flying over its territory in September 2021 and again in February 2022. Japan, meanwhile, said it strongly presumed that 3 balloon-shaped flying objects detected in its airspace between November 2019 and September 2021 were unmanned reconnaissance aircraft flown by China. But India, which administers the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, has remained conspicuously silent despite questions being raised by the Indian media. Mystery balloon hovered over Andaman and Nicobar Islands around tri-service military deal, reported India Today. Chinese spy balloons, UFOs trigger paranoia among countries. Should India be worried? Asked Libmin. Reports suggest India was targeted by Chinese balloon too. Ran a headline in the world. Did a Chinese spy balloon snoop on India too? Asked First Port. China, meanwhile, has strongly denied running a balloon surveillance program. It maintains the vessels downed by the US was a weather balloon thrown off course and has also rejected Tokyo's claim. Beijing said it firmly opposed the Japanese side's smear campaign against China and said Japan should stop following the US by engaging in deliberate speculation. China is a responsible country that strictly abides by international law and respects the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all countries. We, yes, hope that all parties will look at it objectively. China's foreign minister said in a response to a question from the media about whether the country had ever used balloons to spy on India. But to many onlookers, the silence from New Delhi on the matter has been as baffling as the balloon-like object was to the readers of the Andaman Sikha. I think the Indian government is being silent about it for the simple fact that it was unable to do anything about it, said Sushant Singh, a senior fellow at New Delhi-based think tank Center for Policy Research. If it were to say that a spy balloon was found over the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, which is seen as a great bastion of Indian sovereignty, it would show the government in a very poor light. India will come under the international spotlight this year as it hosts 2 high-level summits, the G20 and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and it is desperately keen for them to go well, Singh said. And with a general election on the horizon in 2024, its leader Narendra Modi will be eager to look tough in the eyes of voters who swept him into power on a ticket of nationalism and a promise of India's future greatness. Acknowledging that the UFO, which may or may not have been spying, had floated above an archipelago that hosts a significant Indian military presence would compromise that message. Raising this issue of the balloons simply would not be in New Delhi's interest. Singh concluded, as a nationalist government, it would completely destroy and demolish its image within the country. But Manoj, a fellow of China studies at the Takshashila institution in India, said silence was simply more New Delhi style. Historically, India has never spoken about these issues. He said, if the US has briefed India on the Chinese spying program, India will be very careful about what they reveal so as to not tarnish that relationship. CNN reached out to the Indian government for comment on this article but did not receive a response. The Andaman and Nicobar Island may seem an unlikely target for international espionage. The remote, sleepy archipelago at the junction of the Bay of Bengal and the Andaman Sea lies about 100 miles north of Indonesia and more than 1,800 miles from the Indian capital New Delhi. Only a few dozen of its more than 500 islands are even inhabited. There is little commerce to speak of beyond fishing village, and while the sandy beaches and rich biodiversity have made some of the island people with tourists, others are so remote they are home to uncontacted tribes. Beyond this report, for Shakti.